Is Europe wasting a good crisis? That was the keynote speech given by my next guest today, Francesco Papadia. He's the chairman of Primary Collateralized Securities. He's also the former Director General for Market Operations at the European Central Bank. Francesco, thank you so much for being with me at the LBMA here in Rome.
Pleasure.
So you were the keynote speaker today, and your topic was, is Europe wasting a good crisis? How do you think Europe could take advantage of the current situation it finds itself in?
Well, I think that historical experience shows that Europe progresses in crisis. And of course, we had a very big crisis, or we are having a very big crisis. So the question that I put forward is whether Europe is indeed using this crisis to progress in the economic field, in the monetary and financial field, in the institutional field. And just to make a long story short, my answer is that the direction into which Europe has moved so far is the right one. The speed of progress has been just sufficient, which doesn't mean good, but just sufficient, and that if it will continue, the crisis will be over, and once again it will be proven that Europe grows in a crisis. But of course, if is a small word with a lot of weight, and it remains to be seen whether Europe will soldier on, will have the persistence to continue doing what it has been doing so far.
Now, you previously worked at the European Central Bank, and it's been known that Mario Draghi has gone on the record saying he does plan to keep interest rates low. What do you think of the stimulus that is needed for Europe?
Well, I think that right now there is something of a contradiction between what Mario Draghi said for the Governing Council of the ECB, that they want to keep rates low or lower, and what the market is doing, whereby the market expects that rates will go up. So there is a kind of a tug of war between the Governing Council and the market, and I'm not clear how this tug of war will end, who will win in this tug of war. And my sense is that if the Governing Council really wants to win this war, then it should lower interest rates. Interest rates, you may know, are now at 50 basis points. If they would lower them to 25 basis points, they would really impress on the market their will. If they will not do it, then I doubt that the Governing Council will win this tug of war.
Finally, let's talk about ABS, asset-backed securities, and how they played a key role in the financial crisis. They obviously have a bad rap in the industry. Do you think that's rightfully so?
No, I don't think it is. And indeed, you said that I'm chairman of this primary collateralized securities. And what we are trying to do there is just to take away this negative image from asset-backed securities and relaunch this market, which we regard as essential for the funding of the European economy.
Okay. And how does PCS proceed in determining whether ABS are adequate for the market to prevent another financial collapse?
Well, I mean, the work that has been done is to provide a book which has 144 criteria that define what we think are good asset-backed securities as opposed to other asset-backed securities. And on the basis of these criteria, we give a label to some securities. So they say these securities will be simple, will be transparent, and so you can have a trust in them. We don't say anything original on credit risk. On credit risk, we just take the ratings. But we give an assurance that these securities do not reproduce the mistakes that led to the crisis and the bad reputation.
Finally, before I let you go, we're a gold website, obviously. What do you think of gold as collateral?
Well, gold, of course, I mean, and Mr. Rossi mentioned that in his speech, has some interesting characteristics as an investment, as a collateral. And I think that many central banks sold golds, but very few central banks sold all their gold. So it's not an issue of yes or no, it's an issue of proportion. Which kind of share in your reserves or in your use as collateral you want to have for gold. So it remains a legitimate reserve asset.
And one more question, are you hopeful for Europe overall?
I was, even when times were much tougher than now. So I somehow find it easier to be optimistic now than I did maybe 12 or 18 months ago.
On that note, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure.
And thanks for watching our continuous coverage from the LBMA here in Rome. You can email us at newsfeedback@kitco.com or follow me on Twitter at Daniela Cambone. Thanks for watching. We'll have more for you throughout the day.